Welcome to another episode of the AniMoguls. So today on the AniMoguls, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're starting a new segment that we're calling Disney Showdowns. And in Disney Showdowns, we analyze. Well, analyze is not the right word.
Well, in Disney Showdowns, we pick two unlikely contenders and pit them against each other, even though they're actually likely contenders because they both show up in the same movie.
The winners get to be the protagonists of their own movie, while the losers will be cast as the villains.
Sometimes we might think that the loser actually deserved to win, so that's when we'll step in and offer our opinion, if the need arises.
In this segment, we're going to be looking at dramatic scenes in various Disney movies, and we're going to start with the best fight scenes. Now, this is the greatest fight scene of all time, in my personal opinion. Pocahontas 2. Not canon, we don't care.
And why should we care? Because the best fight happened in it.
Between John Smith and John Rolfe. Now, Smith and Rolfe were fighting on so many different levels. On the one hand, they were both on the same side because they were fighting for Pocahontas' freedom. But they were also on opposing sides because they were both fighting over Pocahontas herself. So really, they had this strange duality where they were both foes, but they were also friends.
And it was strange because at one point they were working together against their common enemy, Ratcliffe. And yet, here they were, fighting each other for Pocahontas' heart, all at the same time.
Exactly.
What happens is that they're both Johns. And you know, one of them is this carefree adventurer who has a zest for life.
The problem with Smith is that he's Pocahontas' first love. He's got that edge because they share a past, and you know how they say that people never really get over their first love? Well, Rolfe worries about that.
Rolfe worries that when he and Pocahontas are in bed together and she says, "John," he's not sure if she's thinking about Smith or Rolfe.
I mean, she's not gonna call him Rolfe. That would be weird.
Exactly. She's not gonna call him by his last name.
Because Pocahontas doesn't have a last name herself, so she's into first names only.
They have different fighting styles too. Rolfe is very dignified. He carries a sword at his side. He's a gentleman of the court, so he's very classy.
His fighting style involves elegant fencing, en garde, touché. He has a very straight posture. You can tell manners mean something to John Rolfe. Remember when he tells Pocahontas, "Whatever happened to manners and etiquette?" And later, after he saves her life, Pocahontas says, "Thank you." And his heart melts. That's the moment he realizes that Pocahontas is the woman of his dreams.
John Smith, on the other hand, he knows his way around a rifle. He's a good shot.
And he didn't learn these skills from some prissy boys' boarding school, like Rolfe did. Smith learned to fight on the streets.
Yeah, on the mean streets of London.
And with all the traveling Smith does, he's also fought indigenous people in various countries. Remember what he says in Pocahontas 1? "We've changed the lives of savages all over the world." That's just a euphemism for what he really did, which was fight, fight, fight.
And after all that fighting, he learned that he was the savage all along, and that helps him. It basically gives him an edge because it means John Smith's not afraid to fight dirty. Rolfe, on the other hand, he's a man of honor.
Exactly. He's a sheltered diplomat. John Rolfe is a prince in everything but name.
And you see, John Smith brings out these rough and tough moves. When these guys get in his way, guess what happens? He grabs a barrel and shoves him down the stairs with it. He's all about improvisation and making it up as you go along.
John Rolfe, on the other hand, he's all about that refined technique. He fights with precision and finesse. Conversely, John Smith has a very theatrical, flamboyant fighting style. It suits his personality because he thirsts for excitement and adventure. For Rolfe, hearth and home are what it's all about.
When it comes to fighting, Rolfe just wants to get the job done. He doesn't feel passionate about a good punch-out like Smith does.
When you see Pocahontas choose Rolfe over Smith, you see Pocahontas growing up. She liked adventure too, but now it's time for her to settle down and act like an adult. Maybe start her own family. But John Smith, he never grows up. He's in his early 40s, but he still acts like he's 21 and living the carefree life of a college frat boy.
Even though John Smith loses the fight for Pocahontas' hand, he's not that disappointed. He's got new adventures lined up on the horizon. He and Pocahontas, they had a fling once, sure, but a lot of time has passed since then, and they've both grown apart and moved on. When they end things for good, Pocahontas says, "We both walked the same path once." John says, "I agree," and that's the end of that. Interestingly, by the final fight scene, Smith and Rolfe have learned to enjoy fighting side by side. And they even end the movie as unlikely friends.
This is just an idea that I had, a theory if you will, but I feel like Rolfe and Smith must be brothers. We already know that Rolfe is British, and even though John Smith has an Americanish accent, John Smith is British as well. Both their first names are John, so their parents really like that name.
They're probably brothers from another mother, because, one's blonde and the other has auburn hair.
If you look at their hair, ignoring the color, they definitely have a similar hair structure. Smith just wears it shoulder length and loose, while Rolfe pulls his back in a low-key ponytail. Both of them definitely have the same bone structure too. The same slashing cheekbones, the defined jawline, the Greek nose, the square chin. They're totally related.
It's no wonder Pocahontas fell for Rolfe. She saw a bit of Smith in him.
Oh yeah, they've got the same height, the same build.
I think the teeth, more than anything, seem genetically similar.
So who wins this round, Tycoon?
I'm gonna say Rolfe wins, because he won Pocahontas' heart. But Smith wins too. Smith wins at life, because he got a new ship, a new title, and another whole new world to explore. That wraps up episode 1 of Disney Showdowns. Stay tuned for part 2, where the Beast and Gaston face off in a fight to the finish. Keep watching the AniMoguls.